Welcome to podcast 43. Yes, 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 maybe, but yes.
That we're doing, and so you shouldn't. I mean, we don't care about any of the things that we're doing, so you shouldn't care either.
Yeah.
It's very, yeah. I agree. I haven't really been that frustrated at a movie this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think Hard Eyes is worse. I think like when I think of like
I'll
what
take
Hard
Hard
Eyes.
Eyes over it. I might
Well,
be alone in that regard, though.
well, Fulton, I've been secretly recording us
I
in the
see.
midst of this conversation to slowly ease ourselves in
Mm-hmm.
to another episode of Podcast 43,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where we will be discussing the film of the horror film, the revival of horror. Horror genre is back with with Oz Perkins' latest film, The Monkey, which is, of course, an adaptation of a Stephen King short story.
Which I wanted to read, like, I wanted to read the short story before we recorded, but I did not get around to it. I don't
Was
know how long it is, or
was there a Stephen King cameo in this? I feel like I didn't see him at all.
there. I think there was, or am I memory? Am I like Mandela affecting it? I feel like I can see it, but I'm actually not sure.
No.
Oh,
Wait, what? No, he doesn't.
okay. Well, that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
I would have at least enjoyed that. But I guess yeah, my memory didn't fail me. Yeah, he wasn't in the movie then. But yeah, so we're back here with another film from the master of horror. Um
The excitement's really getting to both of us, I
yeah,
think.
we're teeming with excitement to discuss this latest film from Oz Perkins,
Hmm.
of course the son of Anthony Perkins.
To
And
go.
yeah, so one of Fulton's favorite actors. I like Anthony Perkins a lot, but not as much as Fulton, I think. I think
Hmm.
Fulton loves Anthony Perkins. So,
I do. I need to see more. I have not. I'm not a completionist yet. But yeah, one day hopefully I can report on this podcast that I have done that.
yeah, they're
Um,
doing they just did a restoration of Frank Perry's Play It As It Lays, which is
hmm.
that film that Joan Didion wrote the script to with her
Oh,
husband,
okay.
and yeah, Anthony Perkins is in that, and I'm looking forward to seeing that when that restoration comes out next month.
Oh, cool. That
But
could be a fun thing to cover on the podcast.
yeah, I mean, I would definitely love to talk about Play It As It Lays.
Technically, it's a new release with the asterisk, you know?
Yeah, new. Yeah, if we start Fulton, we'd be having too much fun if we started doing 4K restoration releases.
That's that's
Like,
very true.
oh yeah, they just put out they just put out that 4K restoration of John Luca Dard's A Woman Is a Woman. So that's a new
A new
release.
release, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah.
yeah, so I guess yeah, so I feel like I really started to hear about Osgood Perkins with Long Legs. Like I feel like I maybe heard about him, but he wasn't really on my radar before Long Legs. And so I saw Long Legs. It was, I feel like one of the most hyped films of last summer, to be honest, but not to talk too much about Long Legs, but I kind of had some gripes with it. I thought kind of the way people talked about Long Legs, and to a lesser extent also with the monkey, people were very much like the word of mouth of how scary it was and how crazy and vile and sick and demented it is. I just got a little tired of. So my expectations are a little bit tampered. And I guess if I could get the ball rolling on it, I would say, tonally it's like Whiplash from Long Legs, I would say. Very tonally different film from Long Legs. So, what were your kind of first impressions of the monkey?
Similarly, I was quite annoyed by that trailer that I had seen a million times. Uh,
Mm,
and it's just like so completely ironic and detached, and it's just so much of it pens from like, that happened, like Reddit type humor. W-
mhm.
And I just felt like,
I think we can add it to the canon. I think it's I think it could maybe get into the subreddit movie
I
canon.
think it is a Reddit movie at
Yeah.
its heart. It really is just about how, what if somebody died in the most messed up way possible, and then it happened again and again and again, but there was no build up whatsoever to all these deaths. It's like I described it to people as Final Destination with more steps.
Hmm. I
Like
think that's a fair comparison.
Final Destination has this existential dread as a core tenet of the films, and I'm not saying that they're fantastic,
Hmm.
but it's just like, if I want to see Rube Goldberg contraptions of carnage, then I mean, I would love to I would just much prefer it to be the amorphous presence of death doing it than a wind up monkey that like just kind of has a creepy look. And then I don't know, it's just
Hmm.
like there's just something about Final Destination where it's like everybody's like, we're in this together, we're in the monkey. It's just kind of like running around, and it's just
Hmm.
paced so poorly. It just
Well, I mean, with the Final Destination films, like you're introduced to like a group of characters, and that's where like the tension of like who's next and how will it happen
well,
comes from.
it's like they're all bound together by surviving a tragedy that they were supposed to die at, and then everything
Hmm.
else is about how that leads to a um, just kind of like a domino effect of like how these people end up dying, and like
Hmm.
how it's kind of like this unavoidable thing. Their fate is sealed, and how they grapple with that.
Hmm. But with the monkey, it's like completely. It's not like completely random people. Like you're introduced to some of these people, but like a bulk of like the killings are like off-screen deaths that you don't even see or hear, and I don't have to see every death. Um, but if I could summarize, I guess my interpretation of the film, it was trying to be kind of like a throwback to like 80s horrors, 80s horror comedies. So there's kind of like a self-imposed like campiness to a lot of the deaths, but then it's also kind of like an early 2000s indie comedy
But
where it's like, mhm,
80s horror wouldn't do this.
mhm,
Like 80s horror isn't like when you watch like an 80s horror movie,
mhm.
which I feel like is such an amorphous term. Like 80s horror, that's such a loaded, you know what I mean? Like that's a 10-year
Well,
period of horror movies.
yeah, well, I just mean like there's a schlockiness to the trying to think of how I would define it. So I'm sorry, my term may have not have been as good.
Oh no, it's okay. I just
But uh, I mean, there's just like a campiness to 80s horror film. Or okay, sorry, because I'm running into the same
well, no,
description
I
again,
get what you're
description
saying.
error.
I get what
Hmm.
you're saying about like the campiness of a lot of films, of a lot of
Hmm.
horror films in the 80s, but I guess what I'm saying is like the
Why
monkey,
80s?
well, the monkey doesn't work because it's very like self-aware of
Hmm.
that campiness. It's not like played straight, and so that's where my conflict mostly comes from.
Hmm.
It's like, what this monkey is so friggin' weird. Oh,
Hmm.
I like, you know what I mean? It's not, it's just kind of always winking and nodding. It's not just like going through the motions as if it
Hmm.
was an actual 80s horror movie where they wouldn't acknowledge any of that stuff. Like, if you watch like I'm holding my tongue to not bring up the Italian Masters, uh, because that's a whole different story. But
Mhm.
even if you watch like one of your standard run-of-the-mill slasher movies, say Friday the 13th, 4, the
Mhm.
final chapter, it's not like people are like, guys, there's someone in a hockey mask that's going around murdering, horny
Mhm.
campers. It's not like they're ever like acknowledging it's just like this is something that we have to avoid, and I'm afraid of that. And
Mhm.
it's more of like uh, it at least like tries.
Mhm. Yeah, and I guess like I'm having trouble pulling what I'm like my source for why I say that. But I meant like the over the top like kills and like very which is probably not the best to just attribute that to 80s films, but I'm thinking mainly of like over the top like slasher killings
Uh-huh.
that I would probably better associate with that. And then I was just saying like the ironic, like detached humor that I feel like I see in a lot of early 2000s indie comedies or and late 90s as well. But and then so like I think where I fall with the film, if you're into that, then that works for you. I personally just didn't like the tone and the style
If
of
you
this
also
film.
if you also hate the third act of a movie, then you're gonna love this movie.
Yeah.
If you're like, that's my least favorite part of the story, I
Mhm.
would prefer if they just kind of like, just kind of like just kind of wandered around and didn't know what to do with that last part of the movie. I think like you're gonna
Mhm.
love this. You're gonna love the monkey.
It's very breezy. That
Uh,
third act is very quick.
Also, it's kind of disappointing for me because, well, one, I really did appreciate like how the long legs trailers were. I thought that they did a really good job of like cluing you in, but not revealing much. And I was very, very interested. And I think
Mhm.
also what made me interested was I really quite liked Oz Perkins' 2015 film, The Black Coat's Daughter, with Kiernan Shipka
Mhm.
and Emma Roberts. It's like a really good movie. That's kind of a very like slow horror movie, and I after watching that movie, and I didn't see Gretel and Hansel or I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, which was two follow-ups after that, but Longlegs especially clued me in with that, and it kind of disappointed me, or it did very much disappoint me with how it was executed, no pun intended,
Mhm.
and especially with how it basically just turns into a Blumhouse movie at the end, and it's just
Mhm.
so ridiculous, and it's just such a missed opportunity. And I think like Longlegs I wasn't a fan of, and the monkey I was even less of a fan of. So it's like just kind of like, and then who knows about Keeper, his follow-up film, which is coming out next year or this
Yeah.
this year.
Oh,
I think.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So he's pulling a Soderbergh.
Yeah, he's Soderberghing it.
Yeah, I mean, with this one, I know there was kind of a quote that me and you talked about, but he had a quote where he's like, if I was younger and I made this film, it would have been very serious. But now that I've made it later on in life, it's very funny. And all I can say is I probably would have appreciated the more serious version of it
Yeah.
rather than a funny version of it. But then again, if his humor and this particular brand of humor is not really meshing very well with me in this film, that's just didn't work for me. Um, but I mean, like, I did kind of want to talk about the casting really quick, because I actually did like the casting. And my one kind of issue with the film, in terms of the casting and kind of the opening segment. Um, and I don't want to blame the children, the child actors, because I think sometimes I just don't want to put too much blame on them. So I don't know if they had a hard time kind of getting into the role, or Perkins wasn't able to like get the performance that he wanted to out of them. And I don't know if this is a problem for you, Chris, but I had a rough time with that pre-time jump segment. I thought some of the acting was a little rough, and I actually really didn't really like Adam Scott in the
in the
opening
beginning.
either. Yeah, but then again, it could be a tonal thing where it's like I just didn't like what he was striving for.
Oh.
Um,
It's it's so I I guess I don't really have a strong opinion, I guess, on how Adam Scott
mhm,
how he played the role of the main character's father
mhm,
in the beginning of the film, but I will say that yeah, I don't know. I think like I was kind of surprised that the the first part of the film that takes place in the past went
mhm.
on as long as it did. It really is like half of the movie.
Yeah,
At least it felt like it. I wasn't keeping track, but
it
it
did. I think it would have, it's maybe 20 minutes, pushing 25, may, or it felt like it at least.
oof,
And the movie's only like 98
90
minutes long,
98 minutes. And
you
it's
know?
like when it does try to like force the sentimentality, it feels like exactly that. It feels forced.
Mhm,
It doesn't know what to do. It's so tonally uneven. It's like we have this part at the in the beginning of the film where he's dancing with his mom, with his late mother and his twin brother, and he's like, that was the happiest day of my life. And then you just have that kind of small little kernel of sentimentality, as well as
mhm,
the part at the end where he harkens back to dancing but with his estranged son at the end of the
mhm,
film, and he's like, let's go dancing. And it's just like none of it felt earned. It's just, did I watch the same movie?
mhm,
It all just kind of reeks of someone that's trying to deal with something, deal with their childhood and kind of the trauma of their childhood, which is what most people have read into this film, I guess, as well as Long Legs, is like kind of this theme that Perkins is exploring with childhood trauma as
mhm.
the son of Anthony Perkins. Um, which, you know, I don't know. I feel like um, he maybe just doesn't have the best. Um, oh my God. Anthony Perkins' mom died in 9/11.
Oh wow. That's insane.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I don't think he really had the best relationship with his father based on this film, because it's like the whole
And
thing
those
is,
before it.
yeah, in the film before it, which, you know, he's I just think like, me, Fulton and I have talked about this, but I think it's always really frustrating when people kind of champion horror, using people using horror to explore themes, and like people, and when people hail it as revolutionary, when that's what horror's been doing for like
The
since
beginning
the
of time.
beginning. Yeah, since the beginning of time.
Oh my God.
Like it's like everybody like just got has like the memory of a goldfish, and like doesn't understand that like there are horror movies that like if you watch James Whale's Frankenstein and
Mhm.
don't pick up, or Bride of Frankenstein as well, and don't pick up on like these deep themes in the film, like then I don't know if you're like actually watching the movie, or like
Mhm.
it, it's just all very frustrating, this
Mhm.
elevated horror, just the term, it frustrates me.
Yeah. It does too. Like, and surprisingly, as much as I've like been a little frustrated with a lot of elevated, quote unquote, elevated horror films using horror to process trauma, that one didn't really bother me with this one. Um, but I think I just tonally didn't, I couldn't really latch on to much. I was like, I see what he's doing. And I really thought that the dynamic between um, Theo James and Colin O'Brien. I really liked their scenes together. I kind of wish there was more of that. I thought they kind of played off each other very nicely, which confuses me because I guess there's a difference in age. But I thought the performance he got out of O'Brien was good. But I'm
Yeah,
skeptical of the twins. Um, and I don't know if it's just playing on a trope that I find particularly grating. And
but
sometimes I think it can be done well, but when you have the older brother that's just a complete like shit heel, like just so like evil.
yeah, it's
Like
like. Did you ever see that film World's Greatest Dad, the Bobcat Goldthwait movie with Robin Williams and
I
who
don't
else is
think I
it?
have.
Well, it's funny. It's got that kid. It's got the kid from Spy Kids in it, like the
Okay.
Daryl Sabara, I think. But
Mhm.
he's Robin Williams' son in the film, and for the first third of the movie, first quarter of the movie, they do
Mhm.
everything in their power to make him like the most ungrateful, like just like piece of shit, like son, like
Mhm.
just so incredibly mean to like anything that his father does for him, like is just doesn't have any manners, doesn't respect anyone,
Mhm.
and it's all intentional. I won't give away the film, but it's all very intentional. But for this one, I just thought like what was the point?
Yeah. Like I get why they have to create that rift between the two brothers, but
It's like
like some of the stuff that they did to illustrate that, I was like, oh, come on. There's a scene early on where like he's getting bullied. There's two bullying scenes and both of them like I don't know if I was still trying to find my footing with the
I like
film.
that the bullies are all like girls.
Yeah.
It's like a cadre of like just girls that are bullied.
Were you confused as hell during that segment where he's like going to the locker room and he runs into like the
Yeah,
girls?
like yeah, like they're
The
like
bit was so
it was
confusing.
so confusing. They like stole his pants because like
Yeah.
they were like your mom's you know, your since your dad abandoned your family, then I guess your mom's gonna be wearing the pants in the house. And
So
you can't wear
you
the
can.
pants, so we're and it, yeah, and they like
I
take
looked
his
over at
pants.
my partner and I was like, "What the hell? What was that?"
Well, yeah,
Like,
why did he? Yeah, why is he wear? Yeah,
which
I,
it's like funny conceptually, but I guess like maybe the execution is just like I don't know if it's the way it's delivered is like, but then there's like a following scene where like the brother teams up with this group of bullies, and they just like grab a bunch of bananas and like squeeze them on top of his head, and he just has like banana goop all
yeah, they're
over him, and
like,
I'm like, what? Why didn't he move?
yeah, I
Like,
remember they were like, yeah, I hear you like Woody Allen movies. I bet you love that movie Bananas, and then they throw a bunch of bananas
because
at him
he's wearing glasses,
because he's
and
wearing
at the time they
glasses.
would have been like, okay, well, obviously, you
Yeah,
know.
everybody, yeah. I did
Yeah.
you also enjoy that? So Theo James plays he plays the brother.
Mhm.
I guess he plays both brothers. And
Mhm.
did you think it was lazy, or did you like that they signified that who was who with you know, he's one of them is wearing glasses and one of them isn't wearing glasses.
I didn't mind it, but I think that's just because I really liked Theo James. He has such a deep voice. Like I
I
thought he was gonna be like 50 years old,
yeah, I
like
quite enjoyed him in well, the first
Divergent.
yeah, that was what I didn't even, I've never seen any of those movies, but
Neither have I.
apparently he's in the In-Betweeners movie, which I don't remember.
I
But
have no recollection of that, but I
man,
wasn't aware of him
uh,
before then, so.
I've only I the what I when I was made aware of him because I saw him in The White Lotus in season 2 of The White Lotus, but he's
Oh,
also
okay.
like he's been like kind of sneakily in a lot of movies that I've seen. Like he
Hmm.
was apparently in Woody Allen's You Will Meet a Tall Dark Stranger,
Oh,
Underworld Blood Wars, Duel. I don't know if you watched that with me. I remember we watched Duel at my apartment a while ago, which is the Karen Gillian movie where she has to like kill her clone.
I haven't seen that one. I
Okay,
want
then you
to. I
weren't
was like, that
there.
sounds really familiar.
It was by the guy that did Riley Stearns, who did Faults
Oh, that's one of my blind spots for
and The Art
him.
of
Now I know what you're
Self-Defense.
talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
another movie that I just really don't like.
Oh, I remember liking Art of Self-Defense. It's been a while since I've seen
Fulton,
it.
Fulton, you rewatch that movie.
Yeah.
Rewatch that. I don't know. You have better things to watch, but you if you rewatch that movie as a full-fledged adult, you're gonna say.
Mhm.
Um.
Um,
Anyways,
yeah.
sorry to get off topic, but
No, no, you're all good.
but yeah, so yeah, like he has to. So Theo James playing the both brothers. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know. I thought it was quite amusing that part of the story. Just
Mhm.
because like Fulton, I like Theo James, and I like how he does a good job of playing these two different characters. Because the one that's narrating the story and who's the main character is very much more like austere, kind of
Mhm.
keeps to himself, um, is very conscientious of everything. I think he has like a lot of guilt weighing on the fact that I guess we haven't even told people like Fulton. I feel like we haven't even told people like what
The
the
plot.
actual monkey. Yeah, we just been like ripping, but so there's a monkey, and so this
Mhm.
monkey that Adams that their dad bought. What it does is if you wind it up and it will like every time it like hits the drum or you wind it up and then it like plays its music and then when it starts drumming it means it like picks a victim and then like the victim dies in this incredibly Rube Goldberg-esque
Mhm.
way and it's like really gory and it's super like messed up. A- and that's just the story, that's just the monkey, and it's all about like how well he used the monkey. He didn't they didn't know how what the monkey like exactly did, and like he wound it up once and it accidentally kills his mother. And so
Mhm.
the main character played by Theo James, uh which I can't remember his name, Hal, he's he's been this guilt has been weighing on him ever since, and it's also been created this rift between him and his brother who was always mean to him.
Mhm. I
So
remember it's not exactly on topic, but Elijah Wood is in this movie. And I remember when I first heard about this movie, I thought he was going to be a main character. So I was really quite surprised
such
that
a shame. Just
he's
like
in it
Pawn
for like
Shop
2 minutes.
Chronicles, there's not enough Elijah Wood in the
That's very
monkey.
true. Yeah. We got to watch his Cam Girl movie.
Oh
He has a movie.
yeah.
He's like a
Oh yeah.
stalker for a Cam Girl. Um,
I love Elijah Wood's like filmography post Lord of the Rings.
mhm.
I love that he just picks the weirdest stuff that he wants to do. Like it's really truly like he'll only do something if he like is interested because it's always like very esoteric
Mhm.
like what is this, like I don't know if you remember that movie that he was in called what was it called, it was the one, did you ever see um I don't feel at home in this world anymore?
I really wanted to, but I have not. That's been on my list.
Yeah, where he has like a rat tail.
Hmm. It looks good. But we'll have to see.
That was kind of before uh That was kind of before Netflix started making movies that weren't real, but
Yeah. Connecting back to our previous episode.
yeah.
If you really want to hear us go very into depth on that one, you can check out The Gorge. Well, something I did want to ask you, and it's something that I noticed with Longlegs as well. And I can tell there's always care and intent behind the filmmaking, even if I don't think it's always successful in its execution.
Uh,
But the overall visual aesthetic and quality of these two films, I feel like they kind of oscillate between looking really good, but also very low budget. And I was curious if you also felt that same way, or if that didn't really bother you at
yeah, well,
all.
some of the like deaths
Hmm.
just feel very cheap a lot of times.
Hmm.
It's
Which I
just
don't
like
know if that was
no.
intentional, but I kind of noticed the same thing with long legs.
I like the design of the monkey though.
I do like the design of the monkey.
I like how he really bears his gums when he's about to
Yeah,
start
and he
doing the
twists
drum.
the
Yeah,
twists the drumstick.
he twirls the drumsticks in his hand.
See, I
Uh,
actually think a part of if we could recover or if we could cover any of the other news that was surrounding this film is Disney trademarked the symbol monkey, which probably everyone is very familiar with, the symbol monkey toy for I guess Toy Story 3 or something. They trademarked it somehow. So that's why this movie he has to have the drums. But I actually like the drums a lot more than the cymbals. Did you hear about that?
no, I didn't know that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, I think Disney trademarked it for something. I think he said it was Toy Story 3, so that's why they have to use
Oh, from was it from
the
that
drum.
or it wasn't from that tin toy that you know the
Mm-mm.
Pixar short that
Oh,
the
did
like
that one launch
early
with toy?
Pixar short. Well,
Oh, okay.
it was
Okay.
on it was I remember it was on a lot of DVDs and VHSs of Toy Story, but I don't know if it actually played before Toy Story because I think it was like one of the first things that Pixar ever did, like far before Toy Story. Yeah, from
Yeah.
1988. Like no, well he's not using a cymbal in that actually. He has like an accordion. I don't know. Yeah, I'm now I'm interested, Fulton. That's crazy. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
It's like all back to this old school drama. But remember when the Fine brothers tried to trademark the word react in 2015?
If only they could have.
I know. I think we'd be spared.
This is actually crazy. Okay, Disney has the let me see. Let me find this really quick. Okay. Almost certainly, it is also worth noting that the Toy Story movie Perkins alluded to was almost certainly 2010's Toy Story 3, in which a gang encounter a cymbal banging toy monkey toy, also known as Jolly Chimp, identical to the one described in Kevin Sting's original story. Um, so it seems like they have the. How do you get the rights to that? That's been
Yeah,
like a toy for
yeah,
forever,
yeah.
though.
Symbol monkeys have been around since the beginning of animatronics.
Yeah,
That's that's evil.
yeah, Disney.
Like the earliest documented toy of a monkey banging cymbals is from 1932, according to Wikipedia. So, however, I don't know. I
Maybe
don't
they
know.
just got the rights to represent it in a movie, but even then, we'd have to. I'd need to talk to a copyright lawyer to really understand
Yeah,
like how that's
I'm
even possible. But without I guess
I
if we kind of
love.
want to. Oh, sorry. Mhm.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like I think wasn't this like I believe there was like a symbol monkey type like Twilight Zone episode, right? From like
Oh,
I don't know. It's like a
I God, it's been so long, but I remember there's that one where the toys are like stuck in the bucket. There may have been a monkey in that one.
No, but it was like the symbol monkey does something, and then like something bad happens when he like
Like every time someone kind of winds it up, a random person starts twerking really hard.
they hit the Quan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I just made that up. I don't know.
It does seem like an episode of The Twilight Zone, to be fair.
But
You know.
all I'll say is it's not right what Disney did. Not
Yeah.
right. Well, but the drumming monkey, it's pretty good too.
I
Like I
like it.
said, they
Yeah.
they uh they made it work.
Hmm. For
And
sure.
and I'll also say that what else do I have to say? That yeah, that's probably my favorite thing about it is the design of the monkey, but the rest of it I yeah, I wasn't really a fan. I didn't like this movie. Fulton and I did not like this movie. I think it's probably my least favorite film of this year. And other than Hard Eyes.
Gosh, have I seen anything? I don't think we've covered anything that I probably disliked more on the
Well,
podcast.
I guess I think I dislike the gorge actually more, maybe. I don't like what the gorge stands for. I think
Yeah,
ideologically well, it's a loaded question. I don't know if
yeah,
ideologically I would say, but what the gorge stands for, I think is worse than the monkey.
I agree. I'd watch the monkey again before I turned on the gorge.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe if my expectations are a bit more catered, I might enjoy it a bit more. But yeah, if this sounds up your alley, then you know, do your thing. If you're really that interested in the movie, go on and see it, for sure. So, but I don't really, it's not really a big recommend from me. But
Yeah.
I guess without further ado, we ready to hawk it up and
Yeah.
talk to
Yeah.
something else or something. So
Yeah, well,
talk to a Howard about some other stuff.
yes, yes,
So
we will. Well,
pardon the dated joke.
it's come back around. It's
Hmm.
we everybody loves what Hawk Tuah stands for because I don't think in the summer of 2024 anybody would have ever expected it would have stood for a
Yeah.
crypto scam rug pull.
Are we doing a hashtag free Welch?
Free will. I think she's good. I think she's free. I think she's just
She got off.
enjoying that sweet, sweet life.
I thought she did an interview with FaZe Banks and she was crying during it or
Oh
something.
no, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, I hope that, her GoFundMe, her legal fund,
Yeah.
if there is a link, we will provide it in in any episode when we're made aware of such a thing. But I
Hmm.
don't think there's been any indictments so far.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do you think
Um,
she's ever seen Monkey Business?
I don't think she's seen Monkey Business. Maybe she's seen the Marx Brothers film Monkey Business, but the
Hmm.
Hawks film Monkey Business is maybe a big ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah, so we're talking 1952's Monkey Business, directed by Howard Hawks, which not to be confused with the Marx Brothers film Monkey Business from 1932, which has absolutely nothing to do with this one. Isn't a remake, it's just same name.
Hmm.
But yeah, this is I mean I explained my rationale last week, but I didn't want to watch another horror movie and I wanted to watch
Fair
a
enough.
movie. I wanted to watch a Howard Hawks movie and this movie has monkeys in it too, on
Hmm.
top of the title being monkey related, so it's kind of connected. Nobody dies in this movie and it's just it doesn't have that like, kind of like uh sardonic type humor that I just fucking love from contemporary films. So I
Hmm.
think that was really missing. But
Hmm.
yeah, a monkey business. What did you think about this one, Fulton?
So this is actually my second Hawks film that I've ever seen. I've only ever seen The
What?
Big Sleep. Yeah, so he's a big
Wow.
blind spot for me. Um, So I had a blast with this film. I really, really loved it. It was I was laughing a lot more than I really thought I was going to. I love the concept. I mean, it really makes you think like, why don't we have fun like mid to low budget films like this anymore, where it's just like a very simple, effective premise, or at least in mainstream American, theatrical releases. I feel like we don't really get a lot of movies like this, unless you can. Can you think of any other movies kind of like with a goofy plot like this, where like I'd say played relatively straight, but has a lot of fun with the concept.
No, that was the beauty of the studio system.
Yeah. Like,
For better for worse. Yeah, it's true. There's not a lot of these ideas, and it's just I just love and just any of these types of movies, especially with Cary Grant in them.
mhm.
You're always gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
It's just an all or just my favorite actor for a
Hmm.
reason. I think I'd still definitely take like a standard Hawks screwball comedy like
Hmm.
His Girl Friday or Bringing Up Baby over
Hmm.
Monkey Business, because Monkey Business is it has screwball elements, but it's more interested in the absurd
Oh,
through
damn.
science as opposed to like the dynamics of women and men kind of butting heads or but you still have a lot of the Howard Hawks staples like the Hawksian protagonist, the women
Hmm.
lead protagonist, which is Hawks is known to be one that had strong female leads in his films, that other films at the time weren't as big on. So like I think of Rosalind Russell and His Girl Friday, or of course Katharine Hepburn and Bringing Up Baby, or
Hmm.
um, he, you know, Jane Russell and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. The
Hmm.
only thing that I would say, I would say this film continues in that tradition by having Ginger Rogers be quite, I would say, a pretty strong female
Oh,
lead.
yeah, I thought she was fantastic. I
Yeah,
thought her and Grant have such an amazing chemistry. I really loved the kind of absurdist links that the film pushes the characters to. But just to cover our back, which we should have done it with the monkey, I guess, going and getting the plot out the way.
yeah, we were like, you know the
Yeah.
monkey, yeah, you know what happens.
So yeah, so with this one, Cary Grant is a chemist, and he is currently researching like a new kind of formula, but he hasn't quite cracked it. But he really wants to do that so he can start working on his own. That's if I'm correct. He kind of wants to make this formula for the company that he works for so he can get funding to kind of do what he's interested in, not necessarily what the company is kind of striving for.
Yes.
And they are testing on monkeys, which we are not pro. Well, I don't want to speak for you, Chris. I don't know. I would assume maybe, but we're not pro animal testing.
Yes,
um,
of course. Yeah.
so, but a fun gimmick in this film, we're gonna, look the other way a little bit. But so they keep having a monkey that keeps getting out, and the monkey goes out and kind of mixes up all the different solutions and then puts that in the water tank. And then you kind of have a comedy of errors, where people are trying the solution unbeknownst to them. And, uh, and we get to see the crazy reactions that it has. And it's kind of like a youth serum, essentially. And the more you take of it, the younger you will act. And I'm sure you can kind of assume from that where that gets taken. And at the center of it, you do kind of have this relationship between Grant and Rogers where they're kind of prodding each other about why they're hanging out with other potential suitors. Not that they're really like going out after them, but Grant has uh, Marilyn Monroe, and Rogers has Charles Coburn, who plays Oliver Oxley, right? And he's a lawyer. So there's kind of tension on the fringes with that, which are kind of played into at certain points within the film to
Well,
funny,
no,
to
Oliver
funny effect.
Oxley's the head of the lab.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm thinking of
You're
Hank
thinking of Hank
Entwistle,
Hank
Hugh
Entwistle, but
Marlowe.
yeah,
So my bad. Yeah. I forgot. Yeah, Mr. Oxley was okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So I guess if that's a good overview off the top.
yeah. And I think it's also about how these two people like have been in a marriage for a while and they love each other, but it's also feels very mundane,
Hmm.
kind of very sterile, run of the mill, and it kind of like this kind of like it's about like kind of how the relationship kind of gets shaken up by this by this stuff, and how
Hmm.
it's like important to remember what youth is like, and how to like be able to capture that while
Hmm.
also being able to use the wisdom that you have to be a little bit more mature and level-headed.
Hmm.
I love the way that they show Cary Grant behaving like a 20-year-old, and because he drinks a little bit of the serum at first and he gets like gets a new haircut and then decides like I want to buy like a sports car and like sell my regular car, and like he drives completely manically
Hmm.
and is like I don't know, they I feel like him and Marilyn, because Marilyn Monroe has to get sent out to like look for him. Charles Coburn is like where did Barnaby Fulton go? We need you to find him. And so then she like eventually finds him, and I feel like they do like a million things in like one day.
They
He's like
really do.
he's like we gotta go swimming, we gotta go roller skating. And it's just a way to underline this like youthful energy that he has. And then if they as they drink more of the serum, then they get younger and younger. And then I don't know, I guess some of the serum makes you dress up as a offensive portrayal
Child.
of Native Americans,
Yes. Yeah.
which is why they pour the serum down this drain at the end. They said, the serum, it's racist, so we got to
Yeah.
get rid of it.
The monkey
But
put a little bit too much of the racism vial, I think,
yeah,
into the thing.
which
But yeah.
I don't know, I didn't really expect the finale to be the way it was, with Cary Grant dressing up like a Native American, and
Hmm.
I was going, ooh, like,
Yeah,
ooh.
that portion didn't age very well. I liked him taunting and messing with Hugh Marlowe, the uh, so Hugh Marlowe, the lawyer, sorry, Hank Entwistle is kind of like the other path that Rogers could have went down of if she hadn't have married Grant. And so there's kind of like this budding like, hey, that's my girl type thing, which I found to be kind of funny. And it's kind of plays out in the end where they end up trapping him. He teams up, Cary Grant teams up with a group of children to kind of trap him and mess with him. And yeah, I agree. I don't appreciate the means by which they go about doing it. Dressing up as Native Americans. It's a very, very poor portrayal, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I liked the idea of them messing with him and trapping him and roping him up. I liked a lot of the confusion that happens in the third act as well. There's kind of a switch where Rogers believes that Cary Grant turns into a baby, and I really liked that. I thought that was really funny. Um, but yeah.
I and also you have this you have this quite impressive sequence where you see what happens when you see like when the physicality of Grant as he falls down that laundry chute.
Oh my God, that
Eh,
was my favorite bit.
yeah, he's just like he has a fight with Ginger Rogers, who drank the serum and is turned into a teenager. She's like crying about how her mother doesn't like him, and she never approved of their marriage. And then like she gets mad at him and steps on his glasses, and she kicks him out of the hotel that they're staying at. And then he has to like he's trying to get his bearings straight, and he falls down the garbage chute. And it's just all so impressive. It's just like Grant was just so good and so nimble with how he
Hmm.
was able to move. And yeah, just he he always had the juice.
Yeah.
uh but yeah, it's also like I said, it's also just kind of nice to watch a movie that like kind of cares about itself. Like
Yeah.
like that's how I really felt about the monkey, and that's what just frustrated me. Is just
Mhm.
I've just become much more um uh, frustrated with so many films that just feel like they need to be uh, always kind of self-referential, or just need to be need to acknowledge the absurdity of the film
Mhm.
as a way to like let the audience know that it's okay to like make fun of something.
Mhm.
And that's why the best films that I've seen as of late, new or old, are much more interested in just telling a story and seeing what you think about it without it being so like universal language.
Mhm.
The latest by by well, I talked about it last week, but the
Mhm.
universal language is the latest film by Matthew Rankin is just so funny and so insightful, and also just feels so honest at the same time.
Mhm.
And I feel like Monkey Business, despite it being a very ridiculous movie, it also is never it's never that happened like Reddit cinema. Well, because of course Reddit cinema didn't really exist back then, but
Yeah. I guess the only
just
really referential kind of joke that they do, or self-referential joke, and I really liked it, but the opening bit, so they start the title crawl and then Cary Grant opens the door and then someone's like, "Not yet, Cary," and he closes it
oh, that
and
was
then it
Howard
goes.
Hawks.
Oh, yeah,
That's
okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I thought I really liked that bit, but I guess I had never seen, or I don't recall seeing a lot of like self-referential kind of jokes like that in movies from that period.
No,
But
it's
I'm just not as in tune with screwball comedies from this time period.
yeah, I would say it's a rarity for sure.
Mhm.
Uh but it's just yeah, those like little things. It just felt like a breath of fresh air, especially for me to watch this film after I saw the monkey. I think that made me enjoy it more because I was like, thank God.
Mhm.
I mean, I think you did it in the opposite, right? You watched Monkey
I watch
Business
Monkey
then.
Business first. Yeah, I typically like watch the movies on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and then see the new release on Thursday. I
I
think it's
see.
typically how I try to go about it. So,
Well,
I
um,
don't really have
I
much to say on the
I
monkey
think
business. I guess.
what?
The monkey bit. I don't have as much as I thought I was gonna say
Well, it's just
on
fun.
monkey
It's like one of
business.
those movies
Yeah.
that you read. I mean, I read a pretty lengthy write up on this film by Jacques Rivette,
Hmm.
the French New Wave filmmaker who wrote on it on an issue of Cahiers de Cinema
Hmm.
in May of 1953. But it's another one of those standard French Cahiers French Cahiers write ups where it's just like just gushing over how much they love Howard Hawks because all the French New Wave guys loved Howard Hawks. But I
Hmm.
felt like I said, like it's definitely one of the lesser of the Hawks films that I've seen, especially
Mhm.
like comedies. I really enjoyed it, but I think that there's just so many other ones that I would recommend, like just a straight up screwball comedy, uh like His Girl Friday or Bringing Up Baby are just a better time. Even if this is a perfectly enjoyable film. I will say something I was a little disappointed with is I don't think Marilyn Monroe is in the movie as much as I would have thought she was gonna. I thought she was gonna be in the movie a
Yeah,
lot more. I was a little disappointed because I
I
thought
did
she did
too.
a good job, like always.
Mhm. I was very surprised that I mean, not a lot of screen time, so I agree.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna drink the serum too, but she never did.
Yeah. Was
Spoilers.
this, because this is, I'm trying to see where this is positioned in her filmography.
And probably, I mean, this was like,
I mean, because it's post Asphalt Jungle, right before Niagara and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
and of course, Niagara and Gentlemen for Blondes were lead roles. It, it's and also before same year as Don't Bother to Knock though, which was a pretty big
Mm,
dramatic role for her. Yeah, I would say that Asphalt Jungle famously is off topic again, but the they like she's not really in that movie that much, but like she's like emblazoned on that poster
mm.
because they realized how big of a deal she was, so they just did the marketing around her, but she's not. It was like kind of like those proto like movies that are like starring Eric Roberts and like they're on
Hmm.
Tubi and like Eric Roberts is only in like 30 seconds.
I do really love. I'm glad to know that like film studios have always been doing that, or like
Yeah.
distribution studio or distribution companies have always been doing that.
Well, that's
Just
you,
slapping the most relevant or the most high profile actor that they can on the TV, no matter on the TV, on the poster.
well, you learn important lessons in in how in like how films are credited when you find out that featuring dot 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 is just like that just means they're not going to be in this movie that much. Um,
Like I
and
really can't imagine she's in The Fireball starring our beloved Mickey Rooney. I can't imagine she's in it that much.
yeah, I didn't know that she was in a movie with the Mixter.
Yeah, we gotta watch this one at some point because it says Johnny Kazar, sorry, runs away from the orphanage to start a successful career as a roller skater.
Wow.
And that sounds great to me.
If Mickey's in it, then I'm there.
Hmm.
Say less. I just I just love that Mixter. Um,
He's a natural talent.
yeah, I was disappointed to hear. Well, I'm curious. I think James Franco is. It's hard for me to tell based on the promo if it's like a play or a film, but he's
Hmm.
doing something related to the life of Lana Turner, and like I can't find anything except that there is a Instagram like promo that he released.
Huh.
I guess it's just some like I don't know. I think it's some art installation in LA, but nonetheless, it's the story of the life of Lana Turner called Lana Land. It doesn't look very good, but I do wonder
Hmm.
if where Love finds Andy Hardy is going to be
Yeah.
in Lana Land.
I can't imagine he'd be playing Mickey Rooney.
Yeah, James Franco
So
is Mickey
yeah,
Rooney.
a young Mickey Rooney.
Uh,
But
all right.
anywho,
Well, I don't think we really have much else to say
yeah.
unless I don't want to speak for you though.
No, you hit me on the money. I don't have anything else to say.
Well, oh God, just realized what we're gonna have to watch next week. All right. Well, Fulton, what are we watching next week?
Well, folks, not unless if the cleaner comes near me, we can change it up.
Yeah.
That's the one caveat I'll do. We're
There's a really
watching the
sick
new.
Chinese movie that's playing right now in New York on the multiplexes. It's like a Chinese action movie that's like it's like a historic Chinese action movie, but I don't know. I don't think that one's gonna be coming near you.
Do you know what it's? I could look into it.
Uh,
Do we want to do a TBA or
this may be
TBA for
well
next week?
a placeholder. Well, we'll say what our placeholder movie is, but
Yeah.
Fulton and I are both not very excited with the options that we have right now. So
Yeah, so the new release would be Alex Parkinson's Last Breath, which stars Woody Harrelson, Simu Liu, and Finn Cole. And this is just like a underwater survival film, and we are pairing that with Dagon from 2001 from Stuart Gordon, which is a Lovecraftian kind of horror film. And that'll be our placeholder for right now.
yeah, well
But yeah,
this Chinese movie is The Legends of the Condor Heroes, The Gallants.
hmm.
Um, it it's apparently a it's the new Soy Hark movie.
Oh, well, that I would like to see.
Yeah. And so I almost saw it the other day, but I don't know. You may need to go pretty far. You may need to go like into Atlanta to see it, but I'll yeah. If we're lucky enough
Yeah,
to watch that, that would be pretty sick. I would love to watch the new Soy Hark movie over
yeah.
Under Last Breath, but it's all right. All right. Well, stay wavy.
Stay safe and keep
Keep on
on
keeping on.
keeping on.